So speaking of free-to-play games, there is a free-to-play game that was released recently, and we're going to give a couple of thoughts about it. But first, we're going to touch on this article, The Finals. So the Finals catches fire early as player count contends with COD, Apex, and more. So massively hyped first-person shooter, The Finals is doing numbers on the Steam charts. Prior to its full release, it has trounced a number of FPS rivals and is chasing one of the year's biggest games. Embark Studios' team-based FPS The Finals is enjoying a successful PC playtest. It's already rocketed to a massive 264,000 peak player count, a staggering figure for pre-release. The game has gotten shout-outs from Dr. Disrespect, but also gotten some flack for its questionable use of AI voice work. Despite some minor controversy, it's been maintaining some solid stats during its playtest. Recent data from Steam showed The Finals eclipsing Call of Duty, PUBG, and Apex Legends in concurrent players. Currently is sitting at number 4 in the charts. It has come dangerously close to surpassing Baldur's Gate 3. Earlier in the day, The Finals achieved a total of 132,000 active players, beating out Apex Legends by more than 20,000. The similarity between the two games has fueled comparisons. If The Finals maintains its popularity, it may become a genuine contender in a massive market. Some players are already calling it, quote, the next big FPS. So on the heels of this, there are some negatives, of course, that comes with this. The Finals is the FPS of the moment, but it just started beta and is already infested with cheaters. So the Finals, of course, is the hottest new FPS in town, but cheaters are overshadowing its big moment. If you've not yet come across it, The Finals is a free-to-play shooter where players battle it out as contestants of a virtual combat game show. Here, spectacle is almost as important as staying alive, as you'll compete for fame and sponsorship opportunities as you fight for your life. An open beta is currently underway, and it's proven very popular with players. At the time of writing, it's at number 5 in Steam's most played chart and has managed to rack up an impressive 267,000 concurrent players at peak on Valve's platform. Still, many have not found this FPS to be a blast, not because of its gameplay, but rather the staggering number of players who refuse to play by the rules. The Anti-Cheat Police Department, which I'm definitely going to follow on Twitter, a community group that specializes in gathering intelligence on cheats to detect and disrupt cheating vendors, posted a tweet earlier this week claiming that The Finals has, quote, already been targeted by huge P2C vendors. It's not long until it's riddled with cheaters. It adds, I hope the devs at The Finals have thought about an anti-cheat measure when building this game, or it's just going to be another title ruined by cheaters. Since then, the Finals subreddit has also been awash with players reporting instances of cheating. Yesterday, I was having a blast on this beta. Best fun I've had on a first-person shooter in a long time. User Rothdog writes, today, every other game was a blatant cheater in it. This game will die very quickly if the devs don't take this seriously. Players allege that the cheating is linked to Chinese profiles, and many are calling on developer Embark Studios to introduce a region lock to tackle the issue. It's to the point I quit playing entirely, user Society Asunder says. Almost half of the games I went in had cheaters. It's unbearable, and we need to region lock them. So the Finals current beta runs until November the 5th on PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The game's expected to arrive before the year is out, though so far no release date has been set. On the heels of this, I also wanted to target exactly who Embark Studios is and the company that is currently behind The Finals, which is Nexon. And this is the most recent games that Nexon has worked on and released. And as you can see here, the first Descendant, which had playtests earlier this year that seemed to get some pretty good traction. Veiled Experts, Arc Raiders, which is part of Embark Studios, and The Finals, which is also part of Embark Studios. Embark Studios is a newer game studio, and The Finals is the first thing that they have recently released. So what I want to hit on first here is the fact that whenever I installed The Finals and launched it, it uses Easy Anti-Cheat. So Easy Anti-Cheat is the anti-cheat for The Finals. So they do have an anti-cheat. It's just not being updated quickly enough. Now, I've done a deep dive, of course, on how easy anti-cheat works, but just to give a little bit of a update to it, the studios have to manually update Easy Anti-Cheat every time they release an update, or they may be able to push it to the live game, not 100% certain, in order to flag certain things that are allowing people to cheat in the game. That's why, with Fortnite, they can push updates to the game while it's live. Epic can push changes and fixes into the game. So if there's something that's broken in the game where a number or a digit was off on something, they can actively disable it while the game is live and not have to worry about it. Not sure if Easy Anti-Cheat allows them to do the same thing, but Easy Anti-Cheat is Epic's version of anti-cheat. Valve has Valve Anti-Cheat, and then, COD has whatever their anti-cheat that they developed was.
Ricochet.
Yeah,
Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet.
So they do have an anti-cheat, but where I think two things are happening here. First of all, the game just released. They haven't had but maybe 2 updates for the game since it's been in this beta period, and there's no way that they can actively upload enough of the flags to stop these cheaters fast enough. It's going to take a little bit of longevity in order to stop them. Unfortunately, that's the current state of how video games are. The cheaters are going to develop cheats much faster than the studio is going to be able to implement flags to stop them, at least at start, until they can get that core group of cheats under control, and then they can maintain it from there. So whenever you see a giant spike in cheaters, Rogue Company currently, it's because they haven't pushed an update to the game in a while, and they haven't updated their Easy Anti-Cheat. So that's currently what's happening with that. Second of all, there's also other ways to cheat within video games that's completely undetectable. And those people are going to be able to skirt by with that much longer than people that are actively using blatant cheats such as aimbot, wall hacks, and things like that. So you're never going to eliminate it. Is it going to drive the player base down for the game? Absolutely. But luckily, it's in a beta state at the moment. So with that being said, Corey, we played the game the other night. I don't think that we encountered anybody that was currently cheating, but with a vertical-based, movement-based shooter like the finals, do you think that the cheating would be much more impactful to the game as a whole compared to other games like COD or Apex, or things like that?
I think it'd be as impactful. I don't know, man. It's some quick gameplay. It was really fun. The mechanics were really cool. But if you're not hitting your shots, especially like going against 2 or 3 people at once, you're just going to die fast. And if someone's hitting all of their shots all of the time, they're going to just
Rip you apart.
dominate that map.
Yes.
They're going to have all the vaults unlocked. They're going to have all the coins from you dying. Like, it's
the pacing is wild.
It will kill that game very quickly because like you said, the pacing is wild and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But if I got in there and died every time I rounded a corner, I wouldn't fire it up again.
Right.
What makes it so hard for controller players is, I don't know if you said you played Griffin. Did you have to do the wheel thing that I was telling you about the other night?
No, I mean, it was bound to different keys, and I was able to go in there and rebind it, so no.
Yeah, it's rough to switch to your frag grenade or something. You have to do a wheel in the middle of combat.
Mm-hmm. You have to memorize where you put your loadouts, like your things. So, like when you build your loadout, wherever you put your stuff, you pretty much have to like memorize it because you got to press the button, open the wheel, swing your joystick to wherever you want it to, and then you got to swing it all back when you're done using that utility. Like all your gadgets and your primary weapon is all on that wheel. And for real, like you literally have to press it in a very fast time manner. Like I played some today, and like just repetitively like spending hours doing it, you get better at it. But again, when you're going up against a mouse and keyboard that's just pressing the key, it's kind of hard to go against that. You know what I mean? Because they can just press what they want, throw it, and then press the other key to go back to their primary, where we have to memorize where we put our shit every single time.
It was my biggest issue with the gameplay was the fact that I had to do that to switch to like a flashbang or whatever it was that I wanted to use.
And then you have to immediately swap back to your primary weapon so you can use your primary weapon, or you'll be stuck in flashbangs.
Mm-hmm.
So I will comment on this real quick because I'm not 100% a fan of how the finals gadgets were laid out, because even with us, I could rebind them. So, but you have to rebind the same thing for each class onto that same key. So if I rebind the incendiary grenade for the medium class onto F, then I have to go into the light class and then move the incendiary grenade to the same slot that I have set up for the incendiary, so that whenever I press the F key, then it actually equips the item and allows me to throw it. There's no quick cast because you have to actively go to that piece of equipment, and then you're holding it in your hand and you have to actively throw it. So with this being a beta game, with this being a cross-play game right out of the gate, and with a good majority, I wouldn't say a good majority, but we'll say at this time, a 50-50 split of mouse and keyboard / controller players, the controls felt, other than the gadgets, felt fine. On controls other than the gadgets, from what you guys are saying, felt fine. Maybe that is going to be a focus point for them moving forward on trying to streamline it, because I'll be honest with you, I don't need access to 4 gadgets. I would much rather have access to a pistol and 1 or 2 gadgets, as opposed to having access to 4 gadgets, an ability, and all this other stuff.
I agree.
So we played it last night for a little while. I tried to get a little bit of footage of it, but unfortunately it was not allowing me to screen cap it for whatever reason. I know Garbo tried to stream it and it wouldn't let him stream it for some reason. So there's something funky going on there. But overall, first impressions, is this something that you guys would actively pick up and play on a very consistent basis? Dirt.
No, I don't know about all the time. I mean, I did have a good time once I kind of figured out where everything was at and how to play. What was the mode? Bank it?
Yeah, bank it, yeah.
Like that, but fuck sledgehammers.
Dude, the tanks are ridiculous.
Yeah.
They are
fuck the
ridiculous
sledgehammers.
right now. Yeah.
I didn't like the UI. Like the menu had everything's just spread out. The gun, you gotta go over here and buy a gun and upgrade it here, and then you gotta go change the cat. It's like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was different.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Garbo, I know that they did pull some comparisons here with it actually beating Apex Legends out, and I felt a very similar Apex vibe in how the movement actually worked and how some of the abilities and things like that work. Would this replace Apex for you specifically, or is this something that may be fun to drop in occasionally?
Wow, that's pretty good. I really enjoyed it, honestly. I've been enjoying the beta, playing it personally. It was very fresh. I do like the pacing. And to be fair, the matches are not really long. They're like, I don't know, for like 10 minutes, depending on how fast the team rolls. Would I say it permanently replaces Apex? No. Would I play it as consistently as Apex? Yeah, I could see myself doing that. If they clean up some things, like Dirt made a very good point out. Like the customization and everything is very like out in the open. It's like janky in ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I
don't know.
forgot
There's
too.
all.
Sorry, magazine size. Whoa, come on. And no secondary.
Yeah,
no secondary. It's
no pistol.
One gun or done. That's what the third gadget's for.
Yeah, but I would rather just slot that out and put a pistol.
I hear you. I
would much rather do that.
Yeah, when you get them a bullet, just hit them with the foam. What you call it?
The spray foam.
Yeah,
it's what it looks like. It's spray foam, right? So, first impressions, 1 to 10 on this scale, Corey. What would you give it?
I give it a solid 6.
That's respectable.
The gameplay was paced nicely. The gunfights they weren't great, but they're not terrible either. There's a lot of chaos. That's my biggest issue. There's a lot going on with walls and floors busting through.
It reminds me of Bad Company.
Yeah, right.
Sort of, yeah, it does, yeah. It definitely is not going to kill. Like, I'm not going to play this instead of any other game. But if it's something that you guys decide you want to play, I would be more than happy to load it up and play with you.
Right. Dirt, out of 10, where are you feeling on it?
I was going to go around a 6.5. So a 6 is
Respectable.
I respect it,
Yeah, respectable. Garbo, I know that we haven't had the privilege to play with you yet, but you have been playing it quite a bit. So where are you going to land this puppy at?
It's gonna be higher than them. I'm gonna go for it. I'm going for an 8, and the reason why is I did really enjoy like how fresh it was. It's very fresh, and I love the chaos. I mean, it makes it more like, oh shit, this is happening. Either I need to figure something out or get out. One or the other type scenarios. And I really enjoyed that. I love that you can kind of destroy everything to get to the thing or make the thing come down to you, like if you're under it. Like there's just a lot of creativity there. I feel like if they can work out the edges, it could be a real solid game. So I'm going to say 8.
So for me personally, if they smooth the UI out a little bit and fix some of the issues with how the gadgets and things are kind of on your controller or on your keyboard, things like that, it would definitely bank a little bit higher. The one thing that is holding it back from getting a higher score, in my opinion, is the fact that it's only teams of 3. So you're going in with 4 teams of 3. We could do 3 teams of 4 and it would net out to the same people. I understand that there's abilities and things and they've all been balanced around teams of 3, but this is kind of like the Apex thing all over again. It's like when you have a core, game design and multiplayer design hasn't really changed all that much. You either have 4-player matches or you have 6-player matches, and then occasionally you'll have like a big team battle where it's like 12 versus 12 or 24 versus 24, whatever. But normally the core of it is 4v4 or 6v6. Whenever you have a game like this come out that's doing something different, it's not doing anything new, but it's doing something definitely different and something that is definitely fun, the chances of me playing it goes from like a 10 out of 10 because of the fun that I did have with it. And the balance of the game overall as a whole is phenomenal. Drops it down to about a 7, maybe a 6.5 for me. Just on that one factor alone, I could get used to the gadget stuff and rebind everything and really get in there and figure that out. But if there's 4 of us that are playing, it's just not going to be in rotation.
Right.
And that to me is the biggest drawback for the game. If they were able
Maybe
to
they'll have a mode.
if they were
never know.
yeah.
That could be part of the feedback, that they get is like, hey, we would like a 4v4 mode,
Yeah.
Let's sledgehammer.
And to be fair,
they gotta nerf that.
The bigger the game mode where you are fighting over the one cube and you're trying to deposit the cube, I can't remember the name of it, but the maps on there are so
or cash out.
Yeah, cash out.
Yeah.
The size of the maps are so large that it could kind of warrant itself to a 4v4, 4v4v4. And then you would have, and limit the teams, right? Make it to where you can only have one heavy or, you can only have one small. Like they could go in there and put strict stipulations on everything as a whole and be like, look, you can't run this, you can only have, maybe one medium that has access to the healing beam, but you can run 2 smalls or 2 heavies or something like that. And they could find a way to balance that out and they could go in there and tweak a couple of numbers and make that work. Hopefully that they'll make something like that happen or just make, one of the game modes 4v4. And that would absolutely pique my interest in playing the game because like I said, balance and movement and all of that stuff overall was incredibly fun and very fast paced. And it really scratched that itch of like an old school Unreal Tournament, arena shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Runs great.
I don't know the complete.
It runs really good.
Yeah.
What would you think would not be balanced, or what in your opinion isn't?
There's just a couple things that I've read into that like I thought were busted. Sledgehammer for one. Like you can get
there
2
was
taps with a sledgehammer. This guy literally can walk up to you and just pop and you're dead. Like,
well, I think the issue with that
many times
was a homeboy with like a sledgehammer and then a medium behind him with the healing ray,
Yeah.
just completely healing him. That's a little OP, dude.
Well, there's also there's a double pump shotgun. I believe
Oh,
it's on the it's either on the light class or it's on the medium class.
I think
Either
it's
way,
a lot.
it's a one hit down.
It
If you shoot
is.
him in the head, it is one shot
So
immediately. So like if somebody just sneaks up on you and you don't see it happening, you're too busy distracted or something, they can just pop and you're gone. Like you don't even acknowledge it happening. You're just dead. There was also a case where I ran into a team that was running a double turret strat, and I couldn't even touch the point.
yeah,
I couldn't even put the thing in the bang. I couldn't even get to it, dude. It was a nightmare.
yeah.
But the dubs felt good.
Yeah, they did.
When
Yeah,
you got them, it was like, so fast paced and it's hurry.
Well,
hurry.
I have to ask, how many did y'all win?
I mean,
we won 3 or 4.
I mean,
out of like 7.
I only got 2 on me.
I mean,
And
we
those
were
solo queuings. Oh,
when Corey got off line, we actually had some decent randos too.
Yeah, the randos were reviving and
carrying. Like,
yeah, I do like how
oh, go ahead.
I like how there's a revive mechanic that's there. If you don't want to use it, you don't really have to. The defibrillator is really cool. Like there's a lot of really cool things and a lot of really cool ideas that they're doing in there. And I appreciate it for what it is. It is a fun, crazy, like just being able to like do stupid stuff, like put those bounce pads at the tops of staircases and launch people.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah. When we were guarding that room and we put one on each door, and every time someone came in, they would just jump across the room and fuck them up.
Yeah, it's little things and the environment being fully destructive and how things interact. Like the spray foam is like a gigantic piece of napalm you can throw in there.
The goo grenade?
Yeah, the goo grenade.
So I think overall, like if they can flesh out some of these inconsistencies and possibly look at tuning it up to a 4v4, I think it would be definitely something that I would play more so than often,
Yeah.
Not a bad beta.
No, not at all.
I enjoyed it enough that I kept playing it, I think today's the last day too, so.
Yeah.
Well,
so it gets
it'll be back.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and say it. The finals gets a 4-play W, So get out there and try it out if you can.
Can't live with them. Can't live without them.